remuneration, which is slightly it's not right. So because we've got some proper wording here now, so why has 3 come into it? Why did we? I thought we were just dealing with the donation. Just take out 3. We're not. Well, I'm going to do that after the election, if I'm here. Right. Resolves that Christchurch City Holdings Limited, because what happens at the moment is that all of the directors of Christchurch City Holdings have, instead of receiving directors' fees, they don't receive directors' fees, but CCHL pays a donation to the Mayor's Welfare Fund at the end of the financial year. So what we are asking City Holdings to do on behalf of all of us is to donate to Imagination Station an amount equivalent to the fees that would otherwise be payable to 2 directors for the year ended 30 June 2016, and the balance of the donation in lieu of councillor-director fees to the Mayor's Welfare Fund. And that just explains, I think reasonably simply, what we are doing, which is making sure that the equivalent of 2 directors' fees for the entire year, 1st of July 2015 to 30 June 2016, goes to Imagination Station rather than the Mayor's Welfare Fund. And that will get Imagination Station across the line, and they will continue to work to find secure funding for the future.
I'm very happy to move it, but I'm not sure if I'm conflicted.
No, you're not.
I'm happy to move it.
Well, I'm going to have Vicky and Jamie move and second. Is there any discussion?
Briefly.
My position on the directors' fees is very clear. I'm actually going to abstain from this vote. I don't think it's my place to actually decide where people's fees go. It should be down to those individual directors. I know that this is being done as a group, but that still goes against my position on this, so I will be abstaining. It's fine.
Very briefly.
Jamie?
Yeah, just briefly. I won't get into the directors' remuneration or anything like that, but just touching on this particular resolution here. The only thing I want to say is I think for all of us, it's been pretty trying times being a Christchurch citizen post-earthquake, and I can't imagine it would be much fun being a kid growing up in Christchurch post the earthquake. So having fun things in the city, I think, is absolutely essential, and this is a really good cause, and at a high level there are 2 councillors that would like the equivalent of their directors' fees to go to the Imagination Station, and with the council's support on this, as a result, we get to play a part and bring a little bit of fun to young kids in Christchurch who most certainly deserve it. So I'm delighted to be seconding this with Vicky.
Good on you, Jamie.
Very good. Phil?
Look, I strongly support it too, and this is short term, and because no one wants to see the Mayor's Welfare Fund underfunded anyway, given the demands on that. And look, there's no question that this Imagination Station is fantastic for kids. My grandkids have taken me several times, and Ireland. So, but the thing, I just wonder too, if I'm assuming that this is happening, that in fact there is some planning going on around ongoing sponsorship for Imagination Station. I see Vicky nodding.
Yes, there is. They're talking to 3 potential organisations that might want to be involved. And I mean, the important thing, I think, and just the outflow of emotion that came around this when the idea that it might actually close was really interesting. It was interesting to be down there on Saturday when Darth Vader and Maleficent and a whole pile of others turned up to try and support it. It's not often you get to stand next to Darth Vader and Mary Poppins at the same time. But just the number of kids who are going in there enjoying it, and I think now that it's set up, it's so well used. There was a queue to use it because there is a limit on the number of people that can go in it at one time. Just to take it apart now would just be horrific. So very, very keen that this goes ahead.
So Vicky, around future sponsorship, we
Yes,
don't need to make any note. In fact, that's already
They
happening.
are talking about that, and this would enable it to go probably for another year and a half while they sort out the long-term thing, and they are talking about a range of long-term options and some other interesting, exciting things as well, which I'll leave it for them to tell.
Thank you.
Yeah, Paul.
Look, I think this goes to the spirit of the original decision around use of directors' funds right back at the beginning. One of the reasons I supported it is so that it goes to worthwhile things. We've all heard from our schools, principals who have come to see the various boards around the issues with the young people in our city and the issues they've faced post-earthquake due to, their parents and the things they've been dealing with, and the kids have often been forgotten. So having something that can take their minds off, give them a wee bit of excitement, is a really, really important thing, and I think it speaks loudly to a number of things we've decided here today around the multicultural strategy, making sure that people work in a collaborative way, the council working collaboratively with people who are delivering some really good stuff in our city, and I think it's really, really important. So I'm really happy to support this.
Yep, Pauline.
Yeah,
Glenn.
I'd just like to endorse what Councillor Lonsdale said. At our board, we've had the principals coming in as well and telling us about extraordinary, unusual behaviour that they're seeing in children, and it's a big worry. So anything like this is going to really help our city, and I think it's really important that we support it, and I'm going to support it.
Yeah.
I'd really like to applaud what Jamie said. I thought that was great, and to me it reveals an attitude that, like, it's not our money. If you are a director, you only receive it by virtue of being a city councillor. So, and it's about the city. It's about our children and recovery. So, great stuff, Jamie. I think that's the way to go.
Very good. Yanni?
Yeah, so I was just wondering, are we doing anything in this report about directors' fees and
No.
councillors receiving
No.
directors' fees?
No.
Just doing this.
Just doing this.
So when is that report coming?
Just
Some other
speak to
time.
this. I'm going to speak to that in a minute.
Oh, okay. So, I support Imagination Station. I think it would be good to get a process, hopefully a bit wider context around where the directors' fees go, and a contestable process for, if it's not the Mayor's Welfare Fund, for it to be distributed back into community projects. I have strong support for. But I guess just one thing too, that when you think about these wonderful activities happening, it's kind of a shame that we don't have more of these activities happening in council-owned facilities in the central city, like our buildings, like our libraries, because actually what a wonderful thing to actually encourage others to come in who might not come into these facilities. And also when you think about the ability of sustainability going forward, where we're constantly paying market rates for highly expensive property in the central city in some cases, maybe not in this case.
No, not
I don't
in
know
this
the
case.
specifics of it.
The landlord
but,
has been amazing.
I think it does raise an interesting kind of, what can we do going forward to incorporate some of this really cool stuff into our facilities that we're spending a lot of money building, that hopefully can have a lot of community access around all sorts of fun and interesting things for our young people and our children. But really happy to support this.
David, then Andrew.
Look, I support the notion of supporting Imagination Station. My views are well known, like Ali. I support the notion, but I think I'll join Ali in abstaining from voting on this issue.
Right, Andrew.
Thank you. I'm also supportive of this. I think this is a really good way of ensuring that Imagination Station is funded. I think it's entirely appropriate that we should look at diverting the directors' fees from the Mayor's Welfare Fund to Imagination Station in this way. I appreciate that the funds that are going to Imagination Station will therefore not be going to the Mayor's Welfare Fund. The spirit of the original decision has already been discussed, and I would actually take this opportunity to publicly encourage those councillors who are not currently contributing directors' fees to the Mayor's Welfare Fund to consider doing so.
We all are.
So, I want to comment on this. I think this is a pragmatic solution to an issue that's been raised with us, and I'm really pleased that the way that City Holdings have taken the direction around CCHL fees to councillor-directors has actually enabled it to be available to be distributed in this way. I think that in terms of the overall policy though, I am going to leave it now till after the election, because I think people need to stand for election understanding, you know, that if I become the mayor again, then I'm going to really pursue a policy which says that no one gets paid more than other councillors for equivalent work, because whether you sit on a board or not, you'll sit on a zone committee and you'll work, how many hours do zone committees take, and the reading that goes with a zone committee. I challenge anyone who sits on a board to say that that's not the equivalent of sitting on a board. So I think that, you know, and I have observed in the past that selection processes for who sits on boards can become an issue as well. And I don't want it to be an issue. I want the best councillors to sit on the boards that we do sit on, because they've got something to contribute to those boards from a governance perspective. That's what I want to see happen. So I'll make that absolutely crystal clear as going forward, so that nobody who runs for council has any particular view that they will be, well, it'll be a council decision ultimately, but I will be putting it up as a council decision. I agree with Yanni that we need a distribution process that goes with it, so that the collective shares in the distribution decisions. The Mayor's Welfare Fund was a convenient holding pattern for that, but may well be a recipient of some of it in the future. But that's what I want to sort of kind of put on the table. I think to deal with it now, in a way we should have dealt with it last year, but having gone through various processes around different boards that were being reviewed and different bodies that were being reviewed, I felt that we weren't able to get to the position of actually forming a full policy last time. But I think it's important that whoever runs for mayor makes it quite clear what they expect in this regard. We can't let the organisations off the hook in terms of not paying a director's fee equivalent, but the distribution decision should belong to the council as a whole. So that's what I'll be pursuing if I get the opportunity to do so. This is a good result for Imagination Station. So I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. No. Yay. And abstain. Ali John. Thank you.